Alright, so today we're going to have more fun with our Sense Hat. And what we're going to end up doing is kind of creating this little smiley face up here. And I'll show you how to do that. So let's get started. One of the things I find useful when I'm trying to design something is this LED matrix editor. And I'll put the link in the description. But basically, if you look at your pie, it's just an 8x8 LED lights. So what we can do is, if I want to draw the smiley face and I don't really know how to draw it, I can sit there and click on these little dots and we can sit there and make a smiley face. So if I go all the way down and just kind of create my circle like really quick, and there we go, we got the circle right there, and we'll give it some eyes. Actually, the eye's over there and an eye over there, and then we could draw like a little mouth, like that, and we can sit there and take this design and fix it a little bit. Yeah, kind of like that. So now I know exactly what numbers I need to do to make this smiley face and make it look good on the pie. So let's get coding. Alright, so the first thing we want to do is define colors. So similar, it's like the RGB colors. So we want yellow, which is going to be 255, and then 255, and then 0. And that's going to give us a yellow color. And this is like, red, green, blue. So like the red and green makes yellow, and we're maxing out the colors of 255 and 255. So just like when you used to play with your Play-Doh and you mix the yellow Play-Doh, the red Play-Doh with the green Play-Doh, you always got yellow. So the next thing we have is black, right? Which black is the absence of color. So we're just going to do 0, 0, 0, and this is going to be, again, it's like RGB, but this, that's black, and then I'll just put down that this is yellow up here just to keep us straight. Now, as we notice, our grid that we're going to write to is 8x8, and what we end up having to do is we'll make a smile, and we're going to equal, and then we'll have to have the little array going up here. So how do we do this? Well, if we go back and we look at the LED website that we had up earlier, we notice that, again, these are like, that would be black, black, yellow, 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 black, black. And we'd have to do this line by line. So this kind of gives us a reference on how we need to define our space. So for example, down here on that first one, it's going to be black, comma, black, comma, y, comma, y, comma, y, comma, y, comma, black, comma, black, right? And then you do the next line, which would be black, comma, y, and then so forth. And I'm not going to type all that in. I'm just gonna cut and paste it just for you to get the picture. So now, as we see up here, we have, let me line that up, we have the black, black, yellow, 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 all the way down, and this is 8x8. So this is going to produce that smiley face. Now that we have that smiley face set, what we end up having to do is go down to the next line. We have to call it. So how do we do that? We do sense.set, and then these are pixels. So we're going to call pixels, and then we're going to call it smile. And then I'm going to save that. And then what I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to run python pixels.py. And when I do that, my pie over here, I already have a smiley face on it. But we're going to end up running that code, and that's going to disappear and come back up. So let's go ahead and run the code by hitting enter. And then you didn't really see any change. So why is that? Probably because we didn't clear this out. So let's set it up where this gets cleared every time we run this. Okay? So to get it cleared out, what we're going to end up doing is right underneath here, I'm just going to do sense.clear and just make sure that the pixels are cleared out. And I'll just put a little space there. Then I'm going to copy this down here, and I am going to clear it out right here. But before I clear it out, I do want to wait a little bit just for we can sit there and see it. So to get it to wait, I'm going to have it, let's see, we'll do the wait, and then we'll do the time.sleep, and then we're going to make it go to sleep after 5 seconds. And looking at that, made a little mistake here. Let me go back up here. And then here's clear. And then I'm going to clear it there right at the end. And I'm going to hit save. Alright, so now that that's saved and stuff, we're going to look at this once again. And then now when I run this, you're going to see that disappear. And then it's going to come back on. So when I run that, we'll wait like 5 seconds. And it'll disappear. Now it's totally disappeared. Now if I run it again, now it shows up for 5 seconds and then it'll disappear in the end. So we got that working pretty good. So that's pretty simple. So let's say we want to animate something. How do we do that? Okay, so an animation or a video is just a series of images that go from one to another. So if you think about the old days, like when you had when you used to draw on paper and then you flip through it like a flip book, and then your images would change over time and it would show some sort of animation to it. That's basically what we're going to do, but we're going to do it digitally. So what we're going to do is we're going to make his mouth move. So from a happy face to just kind of a plain flat expression. So, how do we do that? Well, let's go up here, the smile, and we're just going to copy this, and we're going to add another line, and then we're going to name this mouth, right? So, when we look at this, we know that this yellow here is the mouth. So, if you can see, like right there, that's the mouth right here. So we're going to change this to black, and then down here we're just going to have the Y, and then do the same thing on this side. Okay, so now his expression is going to, instead of having like a smiley face, it's just going to be flat. So when we go down here, we're going to have to do the sense dot set pixels. Okay, and then we're going to do mouth, right? So it's going to go from doing the smile to the mouth. So that's going to be pretty quick. So what we're going to end up going to do is I'm going to go up here and we'll make him smile for 2 seconds, and then we're going to sit there and watch the mouth change. So I'm going to go ahead and save this and get ready to run my Python pixels. Then I'm going to hold this up here for you can actually see the changes. Alright, so we have this up, and we are going to run this. And it did not oh, I got a YB up there. So I do have an error. I thought there you go. Alright, had a typo. But that's okay though. So here it is up here. And then we're going to go down here. We're going to run Python pixels. and then there's the smiley face. Then it changes to the regular flat expression. And doing animation is just like really simple as that. Now, there's other ways to do it, like if we want it to run forever, we could do a loop. Alright, so let's write a loop on there and see how that works out for us. Okay, so to make my loop run forever, we'll go down here and I can do this. I'll do while true, and then I'll just put these little tab these over because we're not going to ever set this to false, so that's going to be like while true. It's going to smile, and then it's going to sleep, and then it's going to go up here, and then it's going to loop back up up here. So let's give this another 2 seconds, and that way it goes I smile, I wait 2 seconds, and then I'll have that flat mouth, and then I wait another 2 seconds, and then it goes back up to the smile. And then these commands here, they never get ran, but I'm just showing you how to keep the animation going forever. So let's go ahead and save this, and we'll go ahead and run the Python pixels.py, and then here we go. See, and this right here, that is just going to go on forever. It's never going to stop. And you know, if you have this displaying and you want that, I'm talking about, that's the best way to do it. But you know, to get out of it, then we're going to have to break it, right? So we can just hit Control C and interrupt it, and that way it kills the command over there. So let's say we don't want this thing to run forever. Well, what do? Well, we're going to have to do a range. So instead of doing the while loop, we'll just go up here and we'll say for underscore in range. And let's say we wanted to do it like, you know, I don't know, 5 times. So we'll put it up there and we'll save this. And now, once we loop through this 5, then we go down here, and then it's going to wait for the time sleep, and then it's going to clear it. Actually, I'm just going to comment this out because I don't need it to wait again. So we'll do it 5 times, and then it's going to sit there and clear. So let's take a look at this, and we'll go down here, and we'll do the Python pixels, and we'll hold this up again. And when we run, we're going to see that little animation go through there 5 times. And then once that's done, what's going to happen is that it's going to totally clear out. So we'll just give that a second just to kind of show you that works. And this is beneficial because it just kind of kills your program at the end. You don't have to do the Control C to kind of break out of it. But doing animation is, you know, simple as that. Now you can do more animation. I'm talking about, I just showed you 2, but you know, you can go 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm talking about you can go up to 100, whatever your heart desires. And you can sit there and do that animation and kind of show different scenes and different scenarios on there. So I'm kind of curious. In the comments, just let me know what designs that you created or what animation that you created with yours. Alright, so let's make our animation a little bit more fun, okay? So up here we have our mouth and we have the smile and we have our defined colors up here. So let's do this. Let's make it a red equals, and then we'll do the 255 for red, 0, 0, and then this is going to be our RGB red. Alright, so why do we do that? Well, the smile, he's happy. Well, when we change the mouth down here, I kind of want that to be red. I want him to kind of say, hey, I'm a little bit angry right now. So we're just going to put that red, and that's going to make our smiley face, when he changes his mouth, looks a little bit more mad. So now we save that, and now if I take the pie, and I'll hold it up here for you guys. Hold it up. Alright. And then we'll run that pie. And see, smiley face. You know, a little angry face. Happy. And then again, a little bit sad. Alright. So that kind of shows you how you can change the colors on here, which is pretty nice. You know, so that's pretty interesting. Alright. So the last thing that I'm going to show today is this random pics. Okay. So I made a file called random_pics.py. I imported my packages. I called my instance, and then I have my clear up here. So what I want to do is I want to take my pie and I want to just make a random design. And I want that random design to kind of keep continuing. So since it's going to be continuing, we're going to do a while true. And then it's just going to be a loop that never really ends. And then what we want our random pixels, right? And then we want to have a random to it. So we'll just do random dot ran int. And for pixels, we know it's an 8x8 grid. So we have a 0,7 because that's 8. Because remember, in an array, we already start with 0. So we need the x coordinate. And I'm going to copy this. And then I'm going to come down here and I'm going to do the y coordinate. Okay, so now we have a random x and we have a random y. Then we need to do the random color. So if we do the color equals, and then the same thing, right? We have the random color like up here, and instead of 0 to 7, we're going to do 255 to count for the RGB. Then we need that 3 times because remember, like, you know, RGB is red, green, blue, so we need our color to be random 3 times. So we can do 4_in range, and then we're going to do 3 right there. So we have range 3. And then we got to close our brackets. Okay? So that should give us our color. Now we got to set our pixels. So set pixel. And then that's going to be our X and our Y. And then we're going to pass in our color. And really simple as that. Now, we're not going to clear out anything because if we clear it out on the loop, because this only produces 1 pixel at a time, so we don't want to clear out that pixel. But we do kind of want it to wait a little bit. So let's do a time sleep, and then let's do it like every like half a second. Okay? And then this right here should be it. So we'll just go ahead and save that. Then I can run this Python random pics.py. And then if you notice, like right up here, just random pixels are showing up everywhere. And if it does pick the same cell, it will just overwrite that cell where that LED light is. And then you can keep this going forever, and eventually all those pixels are going to show up, and they're just going to change colors over time. You know, and that's pretty much it, really. I'm talking about it's pretty simple, and yeah. So Guess that was our bonus thing for today. Alright, so that's going to be pretty much it for this video, and we'll go explore the Sense Hat a little bit more next week. So just let me know what you guys design in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe.